So needless to say, summer has officially begun, and if you are anything like me, you're looking for books to read this summer because you don't want to just sit around for like 10 weeks doing nothing. And a lot of people take the summer to read very light-hearted books so that, they don't have like all this depressing, intense stuff in the summer when, that's their break from heavy thinking. And I completely agree. And a genre that I think is kind of devalued in today's society is the wonder that is middle grade fiction. I find that as I'm growing up, more and more people are becoming supremacists who think that just because they read adult fiction and only adult fiction that they are obviously the smartest and that anyone who reads any YA or middle grade is inferior to them. So today I'm quickly going to tell you about some of my favorite middle grade books, and I hope you find some that you will end up enjoying this summer. First, we're going to start with The Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket, and this is the first book, The Bad Beginning. It's about three children, Violet, Klaus, and Sunny, whose parents just died, and they are being moved from residency to residency, and they inherited a lot of money from their parents, and this one guy, Count Olaf, really wants that money, and so he kind of follows them everywhere they go in very interesting manners. While the story itself is so interesting, what I find really makes a series is how it's narrated. Lemony Snicket is a character that the real author, whose name I am forgetting, he's made up, and so throughout the novel, Lemony Snicket is telling his life story and narrating it with so much wit. Next we have The Mysterious Benedict Society by Trenton Lee Stewart, and I'm actually reading the prequel to this right now. It's about these four kids, Kate, Sticky, Rainy, and Constance, and the plot itself is a bit complex and would take too long for me to describe, but just know that they're very, very intelligent young children, and it's full of a lot of like riddles and things that make you think, but not in the whole what the heck does life mean kind of way. I'm gonna be completely honest with you right now. For the next few books, I don't completely remember the plot, but I do remember loving them, and I remember what I loved about them, so my recommendations are still valid, I believe. We have Chasing Vermeer by Blue Elliott, and it is succeeded by two books with the exact same characters, but I don't think the trilogy has a name. We're starting to see a similar trend here, but this is about some really intelligent kids who have to do a thing, and they do so really creatively with some cool riddles and stuff hidden in it. The biggest thing is I just remember enjoying reading this so much, and I think you would too. Now I'm gonna go on to my favorite fantasy series as a child before I read Harry Potter, and that is The Last Dragon Chronicles. This is the first book, The Fire Within, and they're all by Chris DeLacy. There's so many components to this plot that make it interesting. The main thing is that the family in this, they make clay dragons, but these clay dragons come to life in their small little clay form because of some secret family history. And then there's the main character, David, who is a tenant at the house, and he ends up having some powers too, and then they go to the Arctic in the second book, and there are squirrels in this book, and it's really fascinating. We can tell I'm very good at describing books I haven't read in a while. This series is now done with 7 books. I own 5 and have read 4, and I enjoyed the ones that I have read thus far. Now moving on to the last books, and starting with one that you have probably heard of, Stargirl by Jerry Spinelli. This is about a girl named Stargirl who is the new girl in town, and she's very carefree and very much like Luna Lovegood, I find, in which she doesn't really care about what others think about her. She's quite eccentric and just sticks to herself. Obviously that doesn't fly with most people because it is different than what they know, and the events that happen are based off of that fact, and it's a really good book. And last, but absolutely not least, is Every Soul a Star by Wendy Mass. Words cannot explain my love for this book. This is about 3 kids who bond over a solar eclipse. One of them lives on a stargazing site, the other one thinks she's too cool for everyone but goes with her very scientific family, and the third one goes with school because he needs to get some extra credit. The book is narrated by all 3 characters at certain points, and I think it's really interesting because you get to see the dynamic and thought process of all of them. Also, to add something great about this book, the first sentence is, "In Iceland, fairies live inside of rocks." Any book that mentions Iceland in their first sentence is obviously going to be amazing. So those were all the books that I wanted to talk about. You should read some of them if you don't want to read uber serious books this summer. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy some of the books. This is a really long-winded goodbye, but I'm just gonna keep it anyways. See you next time.